Welcome to another RMSO Bigfoot Round Table Drive. We're on our way to Lost Creek. We just passed Hardscrabble Creek. We know of two people that have had Bigfoot sightings there. Their Bigfoot sightings were 10 years apart, but both of their Bigfoot sightings were similar. And we're now on our way to Lost Creek. A sighting that happened about a year different from Casey's. It was Curtis's Bigfoot sighting back here. And in reality, those two Bigfoot sightings in Hardscrabble and this one up here are only separated by about 10 or 15 miles. I don't think there's very many Bigfoot in this world because the sightings are so rare. So it could very well have been the same Bigfoot that all three of these saw, or at least maybe same clan or family member of Bigfoot.
There's some deer.
Got some antlers on it.
I don't know. They went down behind those trees.
I'd flip around if it was a Bigfoot. Probably see a lot more deer back here. We always do.
Turkeys.
Yeah, I think I've seen turkeys almost every single time we've come up here. I doubt we're gonna be able to get all the way to the place that Curtis actually had his sighting back here because of the snow. I mean, there's a slim chance maybe we can, but even though we can't get to the exact spot, obviously Bigfoot doesn't just sit in one spot all of its life, but we're gonna drive back here, see how far back we can get, and, you know, look around. Kind of got to be active out looking for the creature. You're not gonna find him sitting at home watching reruns on YouTube. The two Bigfoot sightings at Hardscrabble were really similar. You guys may have heard of Casey's Bigfoot sighting. We have it on our YouTube. We talk about it out by Hardscrabble. But he was 18 at the time, just a few years ago. He had graduated from high school, and a couple of his buddies worked for a rancher.
Turkeys!
Yeah, there's some turkeys out by them sheep. Maybe the camera will pick it up. Little flock of turkeys out there eating the sheep's alfalfa. Okay, the turkeys interrupted the Hardscrabble story. Well, Casey's sighting, they were having a shindig, just him and three of his friends. The rancher let them use his vacation cabin on Hardscrabble, and they'd made a bonfire out back, and they decided to roast some marshmallows. And Casey went down into the willows by the creek to cut a bunch of willows to make sticks so they could roast their hot dogs. He gets down into the willows, and a Bigfoot stands up that was laying down in the willows. And it appears the Bigfoot was watching everybody up at the fire have their, you know, little bonfire party. And it stood up and walked away. Casey says it totally ignored him, acted like it didn't see him, but obviously he disturbed it because it stood up and walked. And he says the direction in the willows that it went, it had to come a little bit closer to him and face him, even though it didn't look at him. And then disappeared in the willows in the creek. And he was close enough, like 20 feet away, he was close enough that he saw the color of its hands under its hair, the color of its face. Some deer. Said its hands and face were black under its dark brown hair. And it was a male. It was close enough to see its man part, he says.
There's eagles. There's
Yeah.
bald eagles.
Yep.
Wow. Being that close to something that big and that isn't even supposed to be would be scary, I'm sure.
One of Jenny's friends found out that we searched for Bigfoot, and so she had a Bigfoot story at a Hardscrabble. Do you want me to tell her, or do you want to? It's similar to...
Oh, it's almost exactly the same. They were just, it was for graduation, and they were all out having their graduation party outside, and they had a bonfire, and it came up to watch them, and they saw it, so it was almost exactly the same.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys more details. It was 10 years before Casey's sighting. And it was her boyfriend, I believe. And he walked into the willows to go pee at night while they were having this camping bonfire party. And he come face to face with it in the willows. He was closer to it than Casey was. Casey said that about the closest point was about 20 feet. This guy was, right there. So, pretty similar. It was at night, close to where people are camping and having a little shindig. So, I know it's kind of creepy. This curiosity must get going and come in and observe people at night, because it was laying in the willows watching Casey and his three friends, and then him coming down, and he come down a roundabout way. It may have not even known until he was almost right up on it, and he surprised it and got it to leave. But yeah, how long it had been laying there watching them up there having their bonfire. And of course, Curtis's Bigfoot sighting is a lot different than everyone else's. He and his girlfriend were hiking around up around Lost Creek, and they heard a doe screaming in distress. So they went and found the doe, because she kept crying out the whole time. And he come up, and she was dying. She had a couple days stillborn that she wasn't able to give birth to. And after Curtis tried to help clear the dead fetus and wasn't able to, he started comforting her, petting her. And then after she expired, he noticed up on the hillside about 70 yards away a Bigfoot standing there watching them. And after him and his girlfriend noticed the Bigfoot and started observing it, it walked away up over the ridge, disappeared over the ridge line. I was at his sighting the day after he had it. I was contacted the same night he had his sighting, and I ran up here the next day. I didn't know the exact spot at the time. The witness, told us where it was at, but he had stuff going on, so he wasn't able to didn't fit into his schedule, so he was only able to bring us up here 3 days afterwards to show us the spot. But we come up and looked around the day after. And what was really compelling, after he showed us the spot, that his story started matching up. There's the dead doe with the fawn that was part way out, and and all that. And then Todd Strong of BFRO, he's the Utah investigator for BFRO. He come along with the witness too. It was a guy named Clint, whose sighting is about 15 miles from here. That witness contacted him, and he contacted me and Todd Strong. Well, we come up and we went up on the mountain to have him direct us to the spot where he saw it, so we could do some size comparisons, look around. And I got up to the spot where he had it, and we started finding footprints, and a couple of spots we found handprints where it had put its hand on the ground in steep sections, and also a place where it looked like it may have been bedding down up on the mountainside. So that was real compelling to find all of that. Curtis's Lost Creek Bigfoot sighting is on my YouTube channel. Just do a search for it. We've probably got 5 or 6 videos about the research of the location and talking to him and all of that. There's also the Hardscrabble sighting report that I did of Casey's sighting. Yeah, Curtis let us do an interview right on camera at the location. Casey says he's willing to do a podcast with us, but we still haven't gotten that arranged. Hasn't fallen through.
Most of the land back here is private, so the animals have thousands of acres of just untouched.
Very low pressure.
Yeah, there's nobody back here to bother the animals or anything else that might be back in here, so it's a nice place for, I would think.
Well, the game's really thick, and when you go into places like this where the deer and the turkey are as thick as they are, it's because they don't have as much human pressure.
There's elk as well.
Not as many people have access to use the private property.
Hardly any.
Yeah, some of the homeowners will sell expensive homeowners tags. Sometimes they'll also charge more they want to guide with the person that's on their property and all of that, so really reduces the amount of people coming in and out for sure, and it really helps the game populations. And I swear, a lot of places I go, the game knows if they're on private property or not. They know where they're getting the pressure, because up on Monte Cristo, for instance, Jenny and I go up there all the time and we see game everywhere. And then right after the hunt starts, I mean the day of, sometimes the day after, you don't see the animals on the public property anymore, but you still see them on the private property. They know they're not getting shot there. And there's a private property sign right there. Big sign, you will be prosecuted.
Yeah, both sides of the road and all the way up, all of it's private. The only thing that isn't is the road. And then you get up to the dam and you can be at the dam and go around the dam, but anywhere up and above, private.
Yeah, we may not be able to hike on it, but we can drive and we can look on it and
Yep.
take pictures of the animals on it and So, that rare chance we see a Bigfoot. Wow, the snow fills in all the potholes. This is the most tore up, crappiest road. It's been that way my whole life. I used to come up here as a kid before they paved it, and it was just the most washboard, crazy stuff, and I think it kept a lot of people out. I know when I used to camp back at the reservoir when I was a kid and a teen in my early 20s, you wouldn't see very many people back here. It's gotten a lot more popular since they've paved it, but even it just potholes up. I don't know if I'd rather have the old washboard dirt stuff or this pothole stuff. They're both bad.
I'd rather have potholes.
Yeah, at least you're not kicking up all the dirt.
I hate washboard more than anything.
Well, that's because you went off a cliff on washboard.
Well, that and it's just constant.
Yeah.
It's so irritating.
Someone else was driving, but Jenny rolled off of a mountain cliff on washboard, and a couple of trees actually caught the car after it fell off the road. So she didn't plummet down into the cliff, and it just amazes me. There isn't very many trees off of that cliff. They must have hit the only 2 trees there.
I was lucky.
Yeah, I should say. I drive up to Francis Peak and stuff, even in the best of conditions, man. It worries me.
I've never been up there since then. That's my first and only time up that road.
Heck, the first time I saw a rattlesnake in the wild was up on Francis Peak.
We should go up there.
Yep. We're talking about all this crazy bad stuff, and then it's like, we should go up there.
Well, I'm so immune to hanging off the side of a cliff now in a car. It wouldn't bother me at all now.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to drive up and down that road all crazy and fast like the guy you were with did. People that watch our videos think I drive too fast for the roads, but I actually, these dash cams make it look like you're going faster than you are.
Yeah, it really does. We're going like 5 miles an hour, and it makes it look like you're going 20.
Most dirt roads, I travel 20 miles an hour on or less if it's a really nice dirt road. Then maybe 25 or 30, but most of the dirt roads I can only go about 15, 20 on. Now sometimes people say in the comments, slow down.
Yeah, it looks like we're going freeway speed. We're actually going parking lot speed. There's so many deer tracks out here everywhere.
See any Sasquatch tracks?
No.
I know.
Some rabbit tracks.
Beautiful place back in here. I like the winter time. I'm always hoping that Bigfoot will stand out like a sore thumb in the winter time. Moving across to white filled, maybe a black or dark brown Bigfoot. There's several Bigfoot sighting reports in Utah where people see a white Bigfoot in the wintertime. Makes you wonder if that's an old white Bigfoot or if they actually do change hair color in the wintertime, like
an ermine.
like a weasel will, or there's also birds like sage grouse and different types of grouse that'll turn white in the wintertime.
Don't rabbits do it too?
Yeah, I believe there's some, what are they, the big shoe rabbit? Snowshoe rabbits, I think they turn white. I don't know if they're
white all the time or they change color. I'm not sure.
They change color. I'm pretty sure you're right on that. And if you're not, someone will correct us in the comments. They always do.
There's always somebody who
there's always
knows
someone
the
that
answer.
Yeah. There's always someone that knows more than you do about any subject.
Plus they got Googles at their fingertips.
That's right.
I do not have Google back here.
I'm not Googling while I'm driving around.
There's no service back here.
I could care less.
You could care less if you're right.
I could care less if I'm right about rabbits being able to turn white in the winter. No, actually, I'm pretty damn sure I'm right. I'm an outdoors enthusiast. I've heard a thing or two.
It just gets snowier and snowier the farther back in we get.
Been making the road a lot smoother. There was a time that we never recorded any of our drives in and out of Bigfoot sighting locations. So if you're not into that, you don't have to watch our videos. I know everybody has their taste. Some want to see the hikes and stuff. We have those too. But we cover a lot more ground coming in and out of these places than we do on feet. I mean, in a 30-minute video, you guys, we might show bits and parts of like a 7-mile hike. And then in a 30-minute video of driving, we can cover sometimes 20 miles, 10, 15, whatever it is.
And we're on our way there anyway. And some people like to see where we're going.
Plus, we might get that road crossing. Road crossing sightings are much higher percentage of those than people hiking. So our best chance is behind the wheel of a car to get a Bigfoot sighting. Really makes sense to film these. Plus you guys get to hear a little bit of our conversations that we have coming in and out of these areas, talking about the sightings that bring us in here to look around. We told you about the 3 that have happened around here.
That we've been told of. I'm sure there's more.
Yes. Well, I think I told you about a 4th one. About 15 miles from here is Clint's Bigfoot sighting. He and one of his relatives that was hunting on the Haynes Ranch near the border of Thousand Peaks Ranch, they come face to face with the Bigfoot on private property. It's an expensive piece of property to be able to hunt on. So only a few dozen people a year actually get to go onto the property for that reason. Man, some of these places I used to camp when I was a kid didn't have fences or posted. And now they're private property.
And you can't even camp back here anymore.
No, I'm sure one day they'll open it back up for that. they shut it down because people were just abusing it. They were
trashing.
They were trashing everything out, and they finally said, you know, enough's enough. You know, so I don't think if they hadn't had all of those problems.
Yeah, if people would have behaved themselves.
Well, the crazy thing is right here below the reservoir, they made paid campsites with the fire pits and concrete slabs that are leveled out for your trailers and all that. And you know, like 8 years after they built that paid campsite, they shut all of this down. Well, when they made that paid campsite, they didn't allow anyone to camp up by the water like we used to when we were kids. When I say kids, I'm talking like high school and 20s. We used to come up and camp around here. Just saw some guys with a cat type four-wheeler. It's got tracks all the way around, and they got their hunting dogs. They must be up here after cats or black bear. And when I say cats, I'm talking big old mountain lions.
There's lots of mountain lions back in here.
People are up here
ice fishing.
Ice fishing. Nice.
Look at all those tracks. God, there's so many deer here. It's crazy.
Yeah, they just love this habitat. Deer love the large sagebrush.
Yeah, they do.
I read some articles about how important the large sagebrush is for animals in the region, and out of any type of plant, it has the highest protein content. And I'll have friends that are city slickers that are like complaining about sagebrush areas, and I'm like, man, animals love sage, especially if it's the large sage. A lot of side canyons, one side will have like trees. One side of the little valley of the canyon will have trees, all different types and stuff, plenty of cover, and then the other side will be covered in sage, the side that gets most of the sun. So the animals have their cover right there on one side, and then when they feel like eating, they go to the other side. When they feel like eating really good. I did not think we were going to be able to get this far back in. Most winters in January, I can't get back this far. Yeah, the snow isn't really that deep. Probably about 6 inches of snow that's packed.
It's a little deeper than that right here. It's just that this is all tamped down by snowmobiles, so we can actually drive on it.
When I was in high school and in my early 20s, me and my friends wouldn't even camp in tents here. We would come up and throw a tarp on the ground and sleep in our sleeping bags out in the open. I won't do that now because I don't want to wake up with a skunk or a raccoon licking my face.
Bugs on me.
Yeah, all of that. But yeah, when we were kids, we used to do that all the time. And so now that I'm, you know, really serious about hunting down Bigfoot for a video opportunity, and I track down and research reports and everything, I'm just amazed at all the Bigfoot sighting reports up here. And I used to just camp right out in the open. Bigfoot could have come up and peed on my head, you know. Whatever Bigfoot does to people sleeping out.
I highly doubt he peed on their head.
Well, I just was thinking about the Jarbidge Bigfoot sighting where the Bigfoot come and peed on their tent.
Oh yeah, he sure did.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, oh, I used to sleep out in the open. It could have peed on my head.
Up that way is where
Yep.
Curtis saw his, but we can't get up there right now.
No, we're at the mouth of the canyon where Curtis had his Bigfoot sighting.
Flip
the camera. Back up in there.
little bowl.
Yeah, it goes way back in there. We've been a few miles back in there, and there's actually this next hillside over there. There's some caves up there we've checked out, and, you know, just in case Bigfoot lives in caves, we took a look around at a few that one could have laid down in. Got a couple of pictures of a badger last year when I was up here.
They're hard to get pictures of.
Yep, I think I got like 2 or 3 photos of him. He didn't hold still and didn't stick around for long. As a coincidence, I don't think I've told you this, but I have camped right where Curtis has had his Bigfoot sighting in my early 20s. I did have a camper, and Mike, Danny, and their kids, was Mike's girlfriend at the time's kid, and then one of my kids, we come up here and we crawdad fish down at the lake, and then we all packed into that camper. Well, no, Mike and I can't remember his girlfriend's son at that time, but they camped. They slept on a tarp next to the camper. So they was right out there with Curtis's Bigfoot. Curtis's Bigfoot sighting was probably 15 years later. If that was way back when they didn't have any rules about being able to camp up here by the lake or the reservoir. Now it's just 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or something like that, day use. Yep, I set up my camper right at the mouth of the canyon where he had his sighting, and his sighting was a couple 100 yards into that canyon. Yeah, when he brought us up there, that was the first thought that was going through my mind. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, I've camped right here before.
Tiny, it's all tiny.
Yep. It was that that deer that was dying right there, in my opinion, that caused that whole Bigfoot sighting. It laying there crying caused him and his girlfriend to want to go and see if they could help it. And then I think that Bigfoot come in for an easy meal. So it attracted them both to the same spot and created the sighting. And makes me want to learn a doe in distress call and start using it. As you guys can see, it's very popular for ice fishing this time of year. I hope you guys enjoyed our driving roundtable into a Bigfoot sighting location. We're gonna wrap up the roundtable. We get any cool photos of anything driving out of here, or we record anything crossing the road, we'll put that at the end of this video. Keep on watching. We're gonna keep on squatching.